Well, it's official. The Barbie movie crushed any and all box office expectations, bringing in $337 million globally on opening weekend. But do not be fooled, this was not just a lucky break. It was the result of a well-executed marketing plan and an impressive pre-launch awareness campaign that generated serious hype. We're talking about billboards in Times Square, a real-life Malibu dream house for rent on Airbnb, tons of big-name brand collaborations, Barbie selfie generators that went viral on social media months before the movie's release, a TikTok filter that turns you into a real-life Barbie, a fully interactive Barbie cafe, and life-size Barbie outfits that Margot Robbie wore on tour leading up to the movie's release. Yeah, just to name a few. One thing is for sure, Barbie's marketing campaign was flawlessly executed, and there is a lot, and I mean a lot, that we can learn as copywriters, marketers, and business owners from studying this movie's outstanding pre-launch strategy. But the real question is, because I know you're wondering, how can the average business owner with a tiny marketing budget build hype like this? Well, that is exactly what we're going to be talking about today, Barbie marketing on a budget. Keep watching. Hey Posse, what's up? It's Alex, and yes, you knew this one was coming. You knew I couldn't let Barbie's cinematic debut pass me by without breaking down all of the genius marketing behind it right here on my channel. Now, I am sure that, like me, Barbie is all you've been seeing and hearing about for months now. And that hype has been even more amplified in the last week or so since the movie came out. Marketing gurus everywhere are celebrating Mattel and Warner Brothers for pulling off a marketing campaign for the ages. And while they aren't revealing their marketing budget, you can be pretty certain that it was massive. Like, huge. But the coolest thing about the marketing strategies that Barbie used is that they're actually pretty simple and you can use them too. On a smaller scale, obviously, but every single thing that the Barbie movie did in its marketing campaigns is something that you can replicate in your own business if you get creative. So I did what I do best and studied every single aspect of Barbie's marketing and identified 5 foundational strategies that contributed massively to its success. And I broke them down for you into simple steps that you can realistically follow with little to no marketing budget. But before we get too far down the pink Barbie marketing rabbit hole, if you're new to the crew, welcome. Right here on my channel, you'll find hundreds of videos and in-depth tutorials teaching you everything from marketing, copywriting, branding, and so much more. So if you're into that, you know what to do. Go ahead and hit subscribe below, and don't forget to ring that bell to be notified when my next video goes live. Now, Barbie marketing on a budget, let's get into it, starting with the first and maybe the most obvious thing that this launch did so well. Number 1, a unique brand experience. Every single thing, from every single collab to the AI filter to the real-life Barbie cafe, was executed flawlessly with the Barbie brand experience in mind. There was nothing you saw that was promoting the Barbie movie that didn't feel like, oh my god, this is so Barbie. Everything felt really authentic and unique and really true to the Barbie brand, which is key to replicating this level of hype and loyalty for your own business or brand. If there was anything put out in this campaign that wasn't aligned, our BS meters would have gone off immediately, and you can bet that people would have been turned off right away or would have known it was an imposter. And brands unknowingly do this all the time. They promote an affiliate offer that feels totally off-brand just to make some extra cash, or they speak on a podcast that has zero alignment with their brand mission just for the sake of exposure, and a million other seemingly small or harmless compromises that a brand makes in an attempt to grow, but it's actually doing them a massive disservice. There is a better way to attract your ideal audience and grow your business, which is to create a consistent brand experience that is uniquely you. You want every single touch point of your brand, from what you post on social media to the emails you send to the way you ask a person to buy, to be dripping with your brand personality, that it honestly feels like a no-brainer for the right people to stick around. But how exactly do you create a brand experience as stellar as the Barbie one without buying a mansion in Malibu? Well, the very first thing you need to do is stop trying to fit yourself into the standard box of what you think you should be doing. Brands, just like people, are multifaceted with different layers, quirks, likes, dislikes, preferences, so on and so forth. So what you need to do is sit down and get crystal clear on exactly who your brand is. If your brand was literally a person, who would they be? How would they dress? How would they speak? An example of another brand that does this so well is someone that I love to follow, Queen Herbie. So she's an artist who creates music, but she understands the power of creating a brand experience for her fans. So she doesn't just post about her music. In fact, I didn't even realize she was a musician when I started following her. She doesn't keep herself in that box of, I make music, so go listen to my music, and that's all she posts about, right? She lets her audience into her world. She's quirky, she's colorful, she's funny, she's sarcastic, and she's a little woo-woo, and she has built her brand to mirror these characteristics, which in turn has created a super loyal audience who loves her music, and they also just really love her and love her brand. Something that she does all the time, and I freaking love these, they're so funny, are aura cleanse videos on Instagram. And at first glance, this has absolutely nothing to do with her music or getting more people to listen to her music on Spotify, but her fans absolutely love this and engage with it so much that it's now a regular feature of her brand experience. So when thinking about your marketing strategy, the first thing you need to do is stop doing what everyone else is doing and get clear on your unique brand experience. And you really should crystallize this before you do absolutely anything else. Luckily, I have an entire program to help you through this process of creating your brand voice and strategy, and I'll link to that in the description box below. All right, now the next thing that Barbie marketing did so well is number 2, consistent visual branding. Okay, so we just talked about creating a unique brand experience, which has to do with personality and the voice of your brand. But what about the visual branding, like brand colors, logos, and fonts? Yep, you better believe that Barbie did this better than any brand I have ever seen. I mean, hello, in what other reality do you see a color and immediately think of a brand? In fact, Barbie Pink even has its own signature Pantone shade, PMS219C. So naturally, when it came to their marketing strategy, pink was everywhere. Barbie marketing was not one bit afraid of making everything and anything boldly stand out with their signature pink color and Barbie logo. I mean, they literally put Barbie pink sauce on a burger. How's that for extreme? And it is totally genius. In fact, Google searches for the term Barbie pink have skyrocketed in the last month, and I went and checked myself on Google Trends. Yet most brands are terrified of being this bold with their branding. They're scared that they'll turn people off. But the ironic thing is that being bold is exactly what draws people to you, makes you recognizable, and of course, makes you memorable. In fact, let's play a little game. I love this. Can you guess these brands based on their color palette only? Did you get them? I'll reveal what the brands are at the end of this video, and we will see how many you got right. Now, I'm sure some of them you guessed immediately, like that Tiffany blue is undeniable. You want your brand to be recognizable just like that to your audience, even if the logo is not present. So that means you need to be consistent with the visuals you are putting out there. Use the same colors on your website, your Instagram, your LinkedIn, and so on. And now, I'm not saying that you should just pick some crazy colors for the sake of standing out. You want your colors to be cohesive with your brand experience, so pick colors, logos, fonts that make sense with your brand's personality. All right, next up, we're moving into sort of a 3-in-1 tip: collaborations, PR, and user-generated content. I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. The marketing team worked overtime to make Barbie world a reality, with well over 100 brand collaborations, press coverage on all the big magazines and TV shows, and tons, and I mean tons, of user-generated content. Barbie world was literally taking over the real world. Now, you're probably thinking, yeah, cool, Alex, but my little startup could never get brand collaborations like this, or I will never be interviewed on Good Morning America. Okay, that's totally fair, I get it. But what you can do is take note and replicate that concept in a way that works for you. And here's how you do that. Find brands of a similar size, same target audience, and brands that have complementary products and services, and then team up to cross-promote each other. This strategy was a win-win for the Barbie movie and all of the brands that jumped on the Barbie train. And it can be a win-win for you and the brands that you partner with as well. Just remember what we talked about earlier, you never want to sacrifice the integrity of your brand experience just for a collaboration opportunity. A good brand collaboration will make sense with your brand experience. Like a swimsuit brand collabing with a sunscreen brand, for example. I guarantee that if you sit down and made a list of all the brands or niches that are directly tied to what you do, but not in direct competition, you will come up with so many. So start reaching out to those brands, get conversations going, and just see what happens. And when it comes to PR, you don't need to be featured in Vanity Fair or LA Weekly in order for PR to make a splash in your marketing efforts. PR can mean being interviewed on someone else's podcast, or maybe doing a guest blog post on someone else's blog, or taking over someone's social media for a day. All of these strategies are great PR opportunities that literally any brand of any size can do starting now. And another thing we have to mention with this one is UGC, or user-generated content. This is when fans or consumers are posting about your brand, product, or service on their own social platforms. This is basically free advertising for your brand, but not just any kind of free advertising, the most effective kind, because your customers are talking about you. Barbie marketing was heavily promoted with user-generated content. Remember this? So what you can learn from this is the power of creating something fun and shareable. Not everything you put into a marketing campaign needs to be focused on selling something. Remember, eyeballs have a ton of value. There's a lot to be said about simply having fun or sharing super useful and relevant information. So create a fun filter, make a quiz, design a contest. Consider what's trending now, and then how can you jump on that trend in a way that's unique and relevant to your brand. And when people do share about your brand or tag you, make sure to reshare it. Feature them on your website, social media, or in your emails with permission, of course. Take full advantage of UGC whenever you can. All right, now moving on to number 4, know your audience to a T. I'll be honest, when I first heard of the Barbie movie, I assumed it would be a movie for kids, kind of like the Lego movie. I thought kids toy, kids movie, it makes sense, right? No. Something this movie campaign did so freaking well was speak to their ideal audience, and hello, it was me. They were not targeting little girls who play with Barbies right now. They were targeting millennials and Gen Zs who grew up with the Barbie brand and with Barbie toys. This made a huge difference in the messaging and overall marketing efforts. And this is why you notice that there's so much adult humor in the movie, even though it's still rated PG-13. It's why so many of the marketing events were geared towards adults. And it's why so many of the brand collaborations were with brands that 20 and 30-something-year-olds would be interested in. They weren't trying to appeal to everyone, and that's why the campaign was such a huge success. Literally, they made me, someone who had no intention of seeing the movie because I didn't think it was for me, booking tickets to go see it in theater the week of its release. I legit cannot remember the last time I did that. I'm wearing more pink now. My nails were even pink last week. What is happening? So while the strategy is literally the foundation of all great marketing, it bears repeating. Knowing exactly who your target audience is, what they want, where they hang out, what they like, what they dislike, what they want to hear, cannot be underestimated. If you need help figuring out who your target audience is, I can help you. I have a free customer avatar worksheet, and I will link to that for you below. All right, now on to the 5th and final lesson that you can take from Barbie's brilliant marketing campaign. Number 5, play the long game. If you remember anything from this video, let it be this. Playing the long game is the best marketing strategy of them all. Being consistent and patient with your marketing and content efforts is the thing that most brands completely skip or ignore today. Look, I get it. Everyone wants the silver bullet, the overnight success. But sorry, that doesn't exist, not even for Barbie. Something the Barbie movie did so well was that they built anticipation slowly and over time. In fact, Mattel first announced that Barbie movie was coming and that Margot Robbie was playing Barbie in 2019. That was 4 years before the movie was released. And the first look of Margot Robbie decked out as Barbie was released in early 2022, followed by a reveal of the entire cast, then the first trailer, then the second trailer, a main trailer, and on and on and on. They trickled out more and more Barbie content without ever revealing too much at once, which is absolutely genius. They didn't release one big trailer a year before the premiere and hoped people would be excited enough to go see it when it came to the theaters. They stayed front and center in our minds for 4 freaking years, picking up momentum and traction over time. And by the time the movie was 8 months from being released, the Barbie hype was so big that it literally took on a mind of its own. And this did not happen by accident, and it certainly was not an overnight success. In fact, Warner Brothers president of global marketing, Josh Goldstein, said in an interview about the Barbie marketing strategy, "We saw it as a breadcrumb strategy where we gave people little elements of the movie to stimulate curiosity, and that created conversation." Genius. This is a concept that literally every single brand, big or small, can replicate right now, starting today. Never underestimate how much impact you have simply by investing time and effort into showing up consistently and keeping your brand and messaging at the forefront leading up to a launch. So this is what I call priming, and I do it for months before every single launch. And here's how you can do it too. At least 3 to 6 months before your launch date, you should be 1, generating curiosity and excitement about your upcoming launch, 2, educating your audience about your product and service, and 3, sharing benefits to build desire and create that curiosity gap to start conversations. Do this and you'll generate more hype, anticipation, and sales. I hope you had fun breaking down Barbiemania with me. Now, to go back to that fun game that we referenced earlier, I will pop up the brands right now on the screen. How many of them did you get right? I know I only got a few when I first saw them, but it really goes to show the power of using color and a consistent visual experience in your branding. Give me a thumbs up below if you found this video helpful, and I will see you next week with a brand new video. Until then, I'm Alex. Ciao for now. All right, guys, if you enjoyed that video, make sure to check out the next one from me right here, and you can click right here to get a free gift.
people hear the word publicity, they think, oh, that's something for like internet superstars, or when I have a book coming out, or I've reached a certain financial milestone. But publicity is all about getting your ideas, your message, your products, your services out on other people's platforms. So this could look like traditional media, like being featured in magazines, TV, and newspapers, to what I call the new media, like being interviewed on an entrepreneur's podcast, being a guest expert in their program, doing an IGTV interview, maybe them sharing their work with their audience over email. But it's all about getting your work onto other people's platforms.